Now, let's see. Going back to my notes, see what I got here. Well, let's see. For decentralization, right. Imagine a decentralized network on top of a decentralized network on top of another one. So you mean to tell me in order for you to take down this whole chain, this whole network, you have to go through multiple decentralized networks just to shut the whole thing down? Like, you have to be a very big mass organization with multiple countries under your control to even attempt to try to take the whole thing down. Like, you have to get it, majority of people to agree. Like, literally, a lot. It's like decentralized infinity. And this root chain is an AI, and it can adapt and protect itself for any malicious incoming code. So you got this quote unquote intelligent, sentient device, software, code, whatever you want to call it. And it's running this whole trust layer. Everyone has access to it. Everyone can share data to it. And no one controls it, but everyone controls it. A DAO. So you have this AI tool that everyone can trust and use every day. And we are incentivized to keep having it grow, building things and whatnot. And all of us govern it as a DAO. Like that's your whole thesis of quote unquote a utopia in a sense. If you get to that type of thing, which is ironic that Dominic called it utopia for his the new utopia software that they're coming out for enterprises. Like, interesting. But that is a decentralized DAO. And what platform did I seen? Like, I seen many networks. Like, I went through so many different ecosystems throughout my research when I was just going, like during the pandemic. I used to read and go through all of these different types of protocols and networks. I was like, And even when I was on Clubhouse, the app, when it was popular, and I used to be in these rooms and I used to talk with people and explain it to them, I always had issues with like the friction. Like, no one's going to want to pay gas fees to do this, and the UI, and all of these different things. I was like, if it was like this, and that, I think that would be the one. And then I heard about internet computer, because the price was really high. And I was like, my friend told me about it. He was asking me questions because he was getting into it. And he was like, well, what do you do for storage state? Like, if it's don't have its own basically sovereign network state, anyone could just take down the rest of them. And at first it didn't hit me. And I was like, nah, because for example, I was talking about Hedera. I was like, oh, Hashgraph, it does this. It had this type of finality. It's this new, like, it's a Byzantine fault tolerant. That's like the highest level of security in computer science. I'm like, am I missing something here? But then it clicked. And I was like, let me go rewatch the internet computer video, or like really dive in. Because I only seen like tiny bits and pieces of it, because like the price was so high. I was like, man, it sounds cool like on the brief like description of it, but I don't got that type of money. I can't invest in that. And then when the price dropped, it was around $2-ish. And I was like, dang, is that low? And then you saw these articles about, oh, it's a scam, the FTX and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, dang, man. Maybe it is a scam, but I was like, let me just look into it because $2. I'm like, that's crazy cheap. It was like $2.83. Went back, watched a whole bunch of videos, and I was like, yo, it sounds like the type of utopia layer that I was thinking about in general. And I was like, this sounds like it. Hold up. So I went back. Sorry, I got a notification. But so I went around and played in the ecosystem, did internet identity, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I noticed I wasn't paying fees for every interaction I was doing, unless I was doing like, swaps on the debts or something. So that's different because you're giving permission to another entity. So you're in control of that. But all of the stuff, I was like, wait, this website is on a blockchain? And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I went through the whole Internet Computer website, and then on the ecosystem page, you see the Internet Computer website. It was like, oh, this website is hosted on the Internet Computer. And I was like, what? And then it clicked. I was like, that's what he meant by sovereign network. And then I was like, so everything that you make on the Internet Computer is almost as if it's on its own internet. Then my mind just went off, and that's how I came to Internet Computer. But I'm just thinking of the value proposition of it. You're literally investing in the new internet. And I don't think people can really fathom what that entails unless you go through your day-to-day life interaction. Then you'll click for it like, wow. So I'm literally getting paid by everyone's productivity. Like, it's literally like productivity as a commodity. As I said before, like everything we spend our money on, everything that we consume, whether it's food, media, music, pictures, like all of these things. So it's like, well, we want a very productive society, but we also want to encourage everyone to be productive. Well, how do you encourage them? Well, incentivize them. Make sure that they're healthy. Make sure that they're living good. Make sure that they don't have to worry about unnecessary things. This will help a lot with GDP when it's, the metrics change for it, where it's not just it's not about just profits. It's about, how healthy we are, our mental capacity. Are we inspired to go out and invent new things? Like all of this stuff to elevate mankind, to go to the next level. Like, how do you do that from the base level? A new system. So it's like, that's how deep it goes when you think about blockchain and how it's going to change our lives. Like, that deep. So by you investing in it, no one has a crystal ball. I really think ICP is leading that charge and going there. Even if it's not ICP and it's something else, like that is what you would be investing in. Blockchain in general. So it's like when the internet first came out. Let's say someone made a website. Let's say Yahoo. Before it went public and it had investors and all that. It's just that one person website. They can't necessarily make money from it. Let's just say they just want to put up some news. Hey, we just want to play around with this thing. Then a lot of people started visiting the website. I'm like, hey, Yahoo putting out good news. I like this. I'm going to keep coming to this website. And so that person who owns Yahoo, they're like, dang, how can I make money from this? Like, I don't know. What's the steps? Like, what do I do? So, let's say they had VCs back then. Hey, I have this website called yahoo.com. People like coming to it to read news that I produce and write. And then the VC like, okay, well, how many people visit your site every day? And they're like, oh, I get over 20,000 people viewing my site a day. And they're like, what? 20,000? Give us a few minutes to speak with ourselves. And then they tell the person who has the money, hey, his website is getting 20,000 people a day, and it's consistent. Let's put an ad on his website. And they're like, an ad? They're like, yeah. And let's charge a business $5, and they get 500 people looking at their ad. And let's sell them on that. And they're like, all right, let's go do that. And then they go back to the Yahoo dude, and they're like, hey, we'll give you, here's what we'll do. If you allow us to put ads on your website, like billboards and, things you see in the newspaper, what if we pay you, hey, let's give you $100 for every ad you allow us to put on your site. And he's like, $100? Just to put a picture on my website? Yeah. Yes, let's do it. That whole interaction there, that is how Web 2 was. And then that growth, a big economy from that. Now you have Uber, you have Apple, you see what I'm going here. So this is where I'm going with this. You are investing in this new thing that going to dramatically change our lives. But you benefit from all of it. Imagine if you was there in that boardroom when the Yahoo dude had a meeting with these VCs. Say he didn't have to go to the VCs where he basically got robbed, essentially, of the value as well, because he's putting all these ads on his website, and people are like, I don't really like these ads. So he's like, dang, I gotta remove them. So he removes some, but he's like, hey, I missed the money that y'all was giving me for the amount of ads, but can I do less and y'all just pay me more? My site seems popular. So eventually, that can't scale. Eventually, they're gonna have to stop showing ads like that. So imagine a world with no ads, and where would that be? In a digital sense is what I meant. Like, all that ad money will flow to cycle costs. Like, all extract the value from all of these different processes, all of these different middles, all to one cycle. Like, all of that value. I'm trying to explain this way. So you have a piece of Yahoo without owning it. You can vote, to fire someone. All of these different facets of our lives will be changed. And I think that's the power of it. A DAO government, a DAO internet, and everyone can contribute to this new internet. And everyone's benefited from everyone contributing to this network. It's almost going to be like, yo, if you're not contributing to this network, then you're not doing work. You're not being productive. And you don't have to necessarily be productive in writing code for it. Just by you using it will be productive. You being productive to it. Like, if you're traveling on buses and those buses consume cycles, or those trains consume cycles, you're being productive. You've been a good citizen. So it's going to be like, the whole incentive is going to change, where it's going to be like, oh, these companies don't really care about profit like that anymore, because they're getting paid for everything that you do. But everything you do is cheap. But when you got billions of people doing it at once, that's a lot of money. It's like, it's more money on the long term you can keep the cheap prices steady, where people don't have to just overwork themselves just to live. Now they can take their time, they can be relaxed while still being productive to society. So it's like, that's my thoughts on a new trust layer, a DAO. Tune in to the next episode of House of Canister.